Clerk, please call the roll.
Vice President McFadden?
Here.
Councilmember Clifford?
Here.
Councilmember Evans? Councilmember Patterson? President Scott? Here.
Let the record reflect we're joined by everyone other than Councilmember Spall. Introductory item number 97, resolution approving reappointment and appointment to the Rochester Civil Service Commission. Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Against? Motion carries. Introductory item number 98, local improvement ordinance, establishing the operating and maintenance costs of neighborhood commercial and residential parking areas. A public hearing to be held at 5 p.m. after the April 12th committee meeting. Are there any comments or questions? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Councilmember McFadden. Sorry.
I'm sorry, I didn't see.
Vice President McFadden.
It's
My
okay.
Apologies. I think that Councilmember Spall, because she's not here, I think her question related to the vendors who provide the services to these districts, not the participants themselves. I think the question answered was, it's about the who's participating in the assessment district, not who the vendors who provide the services are. Unless I've got the wrong one. Wait a minute, maybe I do. I think it's a 98.
Oh.
Yeah, she's asking about the vendors. I think she means the vendors, and the answer is about the participants. So I think
Is there anyone that can answer that? Give clarity?
It's probably a DES question.
So would this be those properties that are being charged?
No,
and
I
how
think
they're
the question
determined?
is who's providing the snow plowing, cleaning, landscaping, maintenance for those, for the districts, for the lots.
The participants in the assessment group select their own vendors.
Vendor, okay. And do we have a list of who they are?
I do not.
You might want to see that, okay. Person by, or district by district. Okay, thank you.
Are there any other comments or questions? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Against? Motion carries. Introductory item number 99, authorizing a mandatory agreement for the Rochester Market-Driven Community Corporation.
Thank you, Vice President. I'd just like to request a work session on this just to see what's coming up next and what the plans are. Very excited about it. Just want to get some more info.
Thank you. I had a question about, I think Councilmember Spall again asked for metrics and measurable outcomes. I think for 2018, 2019, do we consider the answer those are metrics and measurable outcomes just about this one business? Is that all there is?
Yeah, one new business. I'd say 1 to 2 new businesses and 7 to 10 additional employees.
Okay, so that is the goal. All right. I'm just, I guess, in looking at the budget, we reflect a net operating profit of $422,000. Where is that money going?
It's really to just build up a reserve funding to build hopefully to add additional staff and capacity for the nonprofit organization. We just hired our first staff person, a CEO, to continue to drive the growth of the nonprofit, and we hope to hire additional back office support staff to support the nonprofit as well as the subsidiary companies.
Okay. The salaries, do they represent how many staff?
Just one staff.
One staff. And does the city provide in-kind services as well?
We serve on the board and staff the board. Other than that, nothing. Printing, some minor printing.
Okay. The city's $50,000, would that be considered in part of the grant revenue section?
One moment.
Okay.
No, that grant is philanthropic grants. The contract section is where the city funding would be reflected.
Okay, so it says 20, but we're looking for 50, so I'm assuming that's last year versus this year, maybe?
That 20 is the remainder of the last year's contract that was just received at the beginning of this year.
Gotcha, okay. I mean, obviously, some concern that we have a budget of $422,000 or $200,000, depending on how you look at it, I guess, and we're looking at 10 jobs. I hope we continue to set higher goals for ourselves.
Absolutely.
Thank you, thank you.
Councilmember Ortiz.
Can you talk to us just a little bit about the current employees? And because one of the questions was, at least my understanding was the goal of this was to hire within the neighborhoods for these market-driven co-ops, and it looks like we don't have anyone from the neighborhoods. So can you talk a little bit about this expected, hopefully, future of 7 to 10, and how we're going to do a better job with achieving the goal of neighborhood employment?
Absolutely. So we have two community and neighborhood representatives on the board, and we're interfacing with several local nonprofits that are associated with the Rochester Monroe Anti-Poverty Initiative that are located in these neighborhoods. And now that the Bridges to Success and the Family Independence Initiatives, which are two of our MAPI's flagship programs, are now fully enrolled. They have 150 families in each. There's a much larger pipeline of potential employees to pick from. This was started really at about the same time those were launched, when they really didn't have any folks in those programs. But we made a huge effort to recruit exclusively from these neighborhoods through neighborhood organizations, neighborhood associations, and unfortunately, we're not able to hire individuals from those particular neighborhoods. So we make a priority hire to hire from these target neighborhoods, and then if we're not able to, we go to the rest of the city. But it is mandatory that the workers be from the city of Rochester.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments or questions?
What does OWN stand for?
It's the Owner Worker Network,
Okay, thanks.
and we're really happy to get rid of that really long, hard to remember name. Took us a while, but now we're here.
All right.
Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. Introductory item number 100, authorizing a professional services agreement for expert witness services for the law department. Comments, questions? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. Introductory item number 101, amending the ordinance.
Sorry, council member. The second was not from a committee member.
All in favor? Aye. Against? Motion carries. Introductory item number 101, amending the ordinance number 2014-365 and authorizing an amendatory agreement with the CEB SHL Talent Measurement Solutions. Comments? Questions? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion from committee members.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Against? Motion carries. Introductory item number 102, authorizing an agreement for actuary services. Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
I'm going to take that as a move and a second.
Sure.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. Introductory item number 130, authorizing an agreement for auditing services. Comments, questions? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. Introductory item number 132, authorizing an agreement to support the implementation of a new payroll system. Comments, questions? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
All in favor? Aye. Against? Motion carries. Introductory item number 133, authorizing an agreement for a workers' compensation actuarial consultant. Comments? Questions? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Against? Motion carries. Introductory item number 134, authorizing an agreement for insurance broker services. Comments or questions? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. Is there any other business to come before the committee?
Vice President McFadden, can I just
Yes.
ask a question?
Yes.
I see Lisa Bobo here, and with all of the goings-on in Atlanta with their major hack and hostage-taking, I would just love to, maybe you could send us a little briefing or update on how we're working to make sure that doesn't happen here.
I definitely can tell you what we're doing in the security space and how actually we utilize some of the information from Atlanta just to cross-check even our environment.
And do we have our Bitcoin deposits made already? I don't even know what that is, but thank you.
Any other business? We're adjourned.
At this time, I call the Neighborhood and Business Development Committee to order, and clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Patterson.
Here.
Councilmember Lightfoot. Councilmember Ortiz. Vice President McFadden.
Here.
President Scott.
And let the record show we're joined by everyone except for Councilmember Spall. Introductory number 103, authorizing the sale of real estate. Questions, concerns, comments? Seeing none, I ask for a motion. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right. Introductory number 104, authorizing a lease agreement with Bill Grays Incorporated. Questions, comments, concerns? Councilmember? I was going there anyway.
Thank you, Councilmember Patterson. One, I wanted to thank the Bill Grays folks for being here and for meeting with the chair of the committee and myself earlier this week. And I think there is really so much enthusiasm for this project. We're really looking forward to it. I was talking with Councilmember Gruber about the fact that Bill Grays is committed to staying open the first winter at least, and we're looking forward to that, and also the comments that they made about the positive impact they have had on other local businesses just by them being present, and I think noted one of the intersections where they had a number of fast food restaurants come in and join the club. I'm not suggesting that we go in that direction, but looking forward to having Bill Grays. So thank you very much.
All right. So at this time, I ask for a motion.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right. Introductory number 105, local improvement ordinance, establishing the cost of assessments related to the High Falls Business Improvement District and authorizing an agreement. Public hearing to be held at 5 p.m. after the April 12th, 2018 committee meeting. Questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, I ask for a motion.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Introductory number 106, local law amending the city charter with respect to the abatement of nuisances. At this time, I will be holding this item. We have a number of comments, questions, and concerns from the community. In addition, there were some questions sent to the administration that were never answered. So we're going to be holding this one for a bit of time. Introductory number 131, local improvement ordinance, reestablishing the South Avenue, Alexander Street Open Space Special Assessment District and establishing the cost of related special work and services. Public hearing to be held 5 p.m. today. Questions, comments, concerns? Need a motion.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? None. Introductory number 135. I will also be holding this item as it is a companion piece to introductory number 106. Introductory number 136, amending ordinance number 2018-57 to correct the legal description of the stair tower, parcel number 1, conveyance approved therein. Questions, comments, concerns? Nope. All right. Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. And just real quick, we do the URA now too, or do we wait till later? You doing it now? Yeah, okay, just want to check. All right, introductory number URA 4, amending resolution number URA 2 to correct the legal description of the stair tower, parcel number 1, conveyance authorized therein. Questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, I ask for, what are we looking for, motion to consider?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, at this time, with there being no other business, this meeting is adjourned.
I'd like to take a moment to recognize some distinguished guests who've just joined us. Would you young people stand up for us? We'd like to welcome you. This is the group from Leadership Rochester's Emerging Leaders. Welcome, welcome. They're a group of high school students who represent 15 city and county high schools. Thank you for joining us today. We appreciate you being here. Thanks.
Thank you. Great to see the young people. I hereby call the Parks and Public Works Committee meeting to order. Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Councilmember Evans?
Present.
Councilmember Gruber?
Here.
Councilmember Spall? Vice President McFadden?
Here.
President Scott?
Here.
Thank you. First item on the agenda is introductory number 107, amending ordinance number 2007-10 and appropriating funds for the 2018 Preventative Maintenance Group 2 project. Questions, comments, or concerns on this item? Hearing none, I entertain a motion. So moved. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Introductory number 108 is amending the ordinance number 2017-12 and appropriating funds for the 2020 Preventative Maintenance Group 11 project. I'll entertain any comments or questions on this matter. Hearing none, motion to approve?
Moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it, thank you. Introductory 109 is authorizing an agreement for the resident project representation services for the Alpha Street Group project. Comments or concerns on 109? Motion to approve?
Moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it, thank you. Introductory number 110 is a bond ordinance of the City of Rochester, New York, authorizing the issuance of $1,762,000 in bonds of said city to finance the reconstruction of certain portions of streets located in the Alpha Street Group project. Anything on introductory 110? Motion to approve?
Moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Introductory number 111. Before we vote on the number 111, could I get a motion to amend correcting streets to street on 111? Someone make that motion?
Moved.
Some
There's
second.
second? Second. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we will now move to number 111, bond ordinance of the City of Rochester, New York, authorizing the issuance of $605,000 in bonds of said city to finance the reconstruction of water services along certain portions of the street included in the Alpha Streets Group project. Any questions or concerns on number 111? Hearing none, may I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Thank you very much. Introductory number 112 is authorizing a design services agreement for the Scottsville Road Elmwood Avenue Improvement Project, the western city line of Mount Hope Avenue. Is there any questions or comments on introductory number 112? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Second, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. The ayes have it. Introductory number 113 is a local improvement ordinance establishing the operation, installation, and maintenance costs of street lighting special assessment districts. A public hearing will be held at 5 p.m. after the April 12th, 2018 committee meeting. May I have a motion to?
Can I?
Yep. Question, please.
So I'm not sure I was able to make this question perfectly clear in the agenda review, but let's just say hypothetically you had a council member who didn't know how assessment districts worked. That'd be me. I'm looking for just some type of explanation for the kind of history behind what allows a neighborhood to become an assessment district and how all the different pieces are put together. You did a great job giving us all the maps, and that was the second part of the question. Those are there. But I just want some context for how it happens.
Actually, this is not an assessment district. This is a local improvement ordinance. This is in regards to our street lighting program. What happens in this particular situation is individuals, you normally get about 70% of the residents on a particular section of the street, and they petition the city to have an enhanced level of service, in this case, street lighting, and they're willing to pay for it as part of their tax assessment. A special assessment district, when we get to that, I will talk about that.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner Jones. I wasn't sure exactly where to ask the question, but what I'd love to know is just, I guess, What I'm really trying to get at is if I'm living in a neighborhood somewhere and I want to go through this process, or I want to start this, what does the city have to offer to help neighbors understand this? So I'm trying to understand it first so I can pass it along.
Okay, can I respectfully ask that we put this on a sidebar and set up a separate time to talk about this?
Perfect.
Because it's a little bit more complicated than what I can explain here during this session.
I'm sure it is. That's what I'm getting at. So I'd love to talk about it.
I would like to set something up, and I would not only include myself, but members of our law department and our assessment office, part of finance, to be part of that discussion.
That's perfect. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you. Anything else on introductory number 114? Hearing none, may I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Thank you. Introductory number 115 is a local improvement ordinance, care and embellishment of street malls.
Councilmember Evans,
Yes.
you need to do 114. We just
Oh.
did 113.
113, I'm sorry. 114 is the local improvement ordinance establishing the operating and maintenance costs of the special assessments for streetscape enhancements. And a public hearing will be held on introductory number 114 at 5 p.m. after the April 12th, 2018 committee meetings. Anything on introductory number 114? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
There a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Introductory number 115 is a local improvement ordinance, care and embellishment of street malls for 2018-19. And also another public hearing will be held on this matter at 5 p.m. after the April 12th committee meeting. Questions or comments on 115? Entertain a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Move
Ayes.
to consider.
Chair member, yeah.
Needs to be a move to consider.
I'm going to move to consider. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Ayes have it. Introductory number 116, local improvement ordinance establishing the cost of a special work and services related to Main Street improvements of downtown enhancement district. Public hearing to be held at 5 p.m. after the April 12th, 2018 committee meeting. Questions, comments on introductory number 116? Motion to consider?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Introductory number 117, authorizing the agreement for the North Winton Village streetscape improvements. Questions or comments on 117? I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you. Introductory number 118, authorizing a grant agreement and appropriation for a climate-smart communities climate adaptation plan. Questions or comments on 118?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Introductory number 119, amending ordinance number 2017-98 and authorizing an amendatory agreement with Northeast Area Development Incorporated. Any questions or comments on 119? Entertain a motion?
Moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The ayes have it.
Councilmember Evans?
Yes.
There's an amendment.
Yes. 119, if we can go back and if I can get an amendment on that motion for ordinance 2017-19, if I can get a motion to amend the language in the transmittal that updates the sources of funds for the two renewals.
So moved.
There a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. The ayes have it. Madam Clerk, do I need to go back and vote and ask for a vote again on the amended resolution? I'll entertain a motion on 119 as amended. Can I get that?
So moved.
There a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Thank you. Introductory number 120 is authorizing a grant agreement and appropriation for improvements to the Cobbs Hill basketball courts. Questions or comments? I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Ayes have it. Introductory number 121 is a bond ordinance of the City of Rochester, New York, authorizing the issuance of $600,000 in bonds of the said city to finance a portion of the city's conduit modernization transmission system cathodic protection project. Mouthful. Any questions or comments on introductory number 121? I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. The ayes have it. Introductory number 122, amending the official map to discontinuance the park designation of approximately 12.466 acres of land and to dedicate to park purposes approximately 12.467 acres. A public hearing will be held at 5 p.m. after the April 12, 2018 committee meeting. Anything on introductory number 122? Hearing none, I entertain a motion.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The ayes have it. Last introductory item is introductory number 123, authorizing an agreement for East Main Street Improvement Project, design services, and agreement for receipt, use, and appropriation of funds. Questions or comments on introductory number 123? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Is there any other business to come before the Parks and Public Works Committee? Hearing none, we are adjourned. Thank you.
At this,
You need some Jamaican rum.
all right, you're fishing, y'all fishing. I was trying to roll it out. Yes, sir.
Do you understand these assessment districts?
I'm not. I'd love to be a part of that.
So the truth is, like, what's one of the few things that
That's a guy thing. That's a guy thing.
life you want to do yourself, we can take care of it. You'd be happy with that. We don't even know how to do it. And then when I ask the questions, the answer is a little too complicated to explain right now. It ain't that complicated. No, it probably is, and that's the problem. That's why neighborhoods.
Well, let's uncomplicated it.
Exactly. That's what that's all I'm trying to get at.
Let's uncomplicated it. I'm with you.
I don't blame you. I'm sure it's problem is that how do we manifest that to our neighbors?
Right. The Youth and Recreation Committee. Madam Chairman, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Lightfoot,
Madam Clerk, that is.
you here?
I'm
Are you
here.
Okay. Councilmember Gruber,
Here.
Councilmember Ortiz, President Scott.
Thank you. Introductory number 124, appropriating federal forfeiture funds for the police department. Any questions, comments, or concerns? If none, I entertain a motion to adopt. Second?
Second.
Thank you. Any opposed? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Introduction number 124 passes. Introduction number 125, local improvement ordinance, security and snow removal services at the public market for 2018-19. Public hearing to be held at 5 p.m. after April 12th committee meeting. Any questions, comments, or concerns? I believe this is a motion to consider. May I have a motion to consider?
Councilmember
Second.
Ortiz moved.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Introduction passes. Introduction number 126, authorizing an agreement for receipt and use of funding for the Rochester public market. Any questions, comments, or concerns?
Councilmember?
Yes, sir, Councilman Gruber.
Just like to commend all the work done on this. The public market continues to be one of the greatest assets we have in the city, and it's just getting better and better. And this particular project is really, really exciting. So great work to everyone.
I concur. Any other questions, comments, concerns? This time I entertain a motion.
So moved.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Introduction number 127, authorizing an agreement for resident project representation services for park projects. A lot of P's in that one. Any questions, comments, or concerns?
Move to adopt.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Introduction number 128, authorizing intermunicipal agreement for DWI program crackdown weekend enforcement grant. Any questions, comments, or concerns? This time, entertain a motion.
So moved.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposes? Motion passes. Introduction number 129, authorizing an agreement for an evaluation of the fire department's fire suppression deployment model. Any questions, comments, or concerns?
I do have a question, Councilmember Lightfoot. Thank you.
Councilmember Clifford.
Thanks. I just noticed that there's a lot of response time data that we're going to be asking for, which I know is usually a task of the 911 center. And given that we are without a director, it just made me ask the question what the status of the 911 director search is and when we think we'll have a director there.
We put out for resumes and applications that closed. We are working with the 911 review board to actually get their approval. The board is actually appointed by the Monroe County Legislature, so we have to work with the county on whomever we decide to hire. But we have released for all of the resumes, we've gotten them some back, and the process is closed at this point in time.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, comments, concerns? This time I entertain a motion.
So moved.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Is there any other business to come before the Public Safety, Youth, and Recreation Committee? If none, I adjourn this committee meeting.
Thank you all. That concludes the committee meetings. However, the public hearings for a number of items will begin at 5:00 p.m. The meeting will come to order, and the clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Clifford.
Here.
Councilmember Evans. Councilmember Gruber.
Here.
Councilmember Lightfoot.
Present, ma'am.
Councilmember Ortiz. Councilmember Patterson. Councilmember Spall. Vice President McFadden. President Scott.
Here. I now ask the clerk to begin the hearings.
Pursuant to law, public hearing will now be had on the following matter. Local improvement ordinance establishing the operating and maintenance costs of neighborhood commercial and residential parking areas. Introductory number 98. Any persons desiring to speak in reference to said matter will now be heard.
If there are no speakers, that hearing is closed.
Pursuant
Did you wish to
Was
speak?
that your item?
Is-
The mall.
Okay.
Pursuant to law, public hearing will now be had on the following matter. Local improvement ordinance establishing the cost of assessments related to the High Falls Business Improvement District and authorizing an agreement. Introductory number 105. Any persons desiring to speak in reference to said matter will now be heard.
If there are no speakers, that hearing is closed.
Pursuant to law, public hearing will now be had on the following matter: local improvement ordinance establishing the operation and installation and maintenance costs of street lighting special assessment districts. Introductory number 113. Any persons desiring to speak in reference to said matter will now be heard.
There are no speakers. Said hearing is closed.
Pursuant to law, public hearing will now be had on the following matter: local improvement ordinance establishing the operating and maintenance cost of special assessments for streetscape and enhancements. Introductory number 114. Any persons desiring to speak in reference to said matter will now be heard.
There are no speakers. Said hearing is closed.
Pursuant to law, public hearing will now be had on the following matter: local improvement ordinance, care and embellishment of street malls for 2018-2019. Introductory number 115. Any persons desiring to speak in reference to said matter will now be heard.
Would you please state your name? You have 3 minutes to speak.
Okay, my name is Natalie Sinisgali. I'm a house owner on Arnold Park. I just purchased the home last year, and we have a lot of issues with the distance between the curb and the median. Our house in particular there's no cut through on the median for us to get into our, you think you know what I'm talking about? to get into our driveway, and so there isn't enough room to have a car parked and get around it. So us included and other people have to go up on the median to get through, and it's destroying the median, but there's no other way to get to our home. And we call for parking tickets too, because people park illegally frequently there, either off hours or in a no parking zone. And I mean, we probably call, I'd say twice a week to have cars ticketed, but that doesn't really help us get in and out of our driveway. So the median, not only is that the issue that it isn't quite wide enough, but it's falling into disrepair because of that. I don't know, I am new on the street, so I don't know exactly if this has been brought up before, or if things have been pursued or not, but it's very difficult for us as homeowners to be able to get to our driveway.
Commissioner Jones, he'll speak with you on that.
We'll have Commissioner Jones speak to you.
Are there any additional speakers?
Pepsi Catabang.
I know you look familiar.
And I'm Natalie Siniscali's other half. I'd like to speak in reference to the mall. We moved in there about almost a year ago. I don't know if some of you may know the kind of stuff that I'm involved in the city in the past, 15 years. I am a big proponent of history. I support history, but in this situation, the tremendous challenge with respect to, contemporary issues, mobiles and things of that nature. So the distance with the parking lot and the medium, it's so tight that in the wintertime, we literally cannot park there. We would have to drive in the medium, would destroy the curve, the Medina Stone curve. And if anything, it's a simple solution, move it in another foot or so, that would make a huge impact. So I hope the board here would take consideration in terms of how do we acknowledge the history, the important history, but also to be able to accommodate us, as a taxpayer, and still do it in a way that respect to the history. Thanks.
Mr. Catavon, Commissioner Jones and our engineer will speak to you further about that. They're going. Mm-hmm. Are there any additional speakers? There are not. That hearing is closed.
Pursuant to law, public hearing will now be had on the following matter: local improvement ordinance establishing the cost of the special work and services related to Main Street improvements of the Downtown Enhancement District. Introductory number 116. Any persons desiring to speak in reference to said matter will now be heard.
If there are no speakers, that hearing is closed.
Pursuant to law, public hearing will now be had on the following matter: amending the official map to discontinue the park designation of approximately 12.466 acres of land and to dedicate to park purposes approximately 12.467 acres. Introductory number 122. Any persons desiring to speak in reference to said matter will now be heard.
Greetings, I'm Alex White, and I think I just turned this off. Okay, and my concern about this is that I thought you were supposed to transfer property of equal value. It is now equal acreage, but one of the properties has, and as you know, value is determined by a lot of things. One of the properties has road access and was very clean, and one of the properties along the river has a large section with environmental contamination on it that you're turning into a park. I have serious concerns about this area's viability as a park because as the water flows from that area, it flowed under the vacuum oil field area and contaminated that area along the river. And you're turning into a park in area that doesn't have road access, that is out of the way, and that is very contaminated at least one point. Those are not equal by any stretch of the imagination. And I think you really should reconsider that. Thank you.
Are there any additional speakers? If there isn't, that hearing is closed.
Pursuant to law, public hearing will now be had on the following matter: local improvement ordinance, security and snow removal services at the public market for 2018-19. Introductory number 125. Any persons desiring to speak in reference to said matter will now be heard.
This is introductory 125.
We have a speaker for 122 who just arrived, if we could go back.
We'll complete this first, please. If there are no speakers, that hearing is closed.
Pursuant to law, public hearing will now be had on the following matter: amending the official map to discontinue the park designation of approximately 12.466 acres of land and to dedicate to park purposes approximately 12.467 acres of land. Introductory number 122. Any persons desiring to speak in reference to said matter will now be heard. 122, right?
I'm going to take a deep breath. Getting out of work and getting here was a little bit of a joy. So, well, hello. Hello to all council members and in the audience. My name is Melanie Warren, and I will begin. I received the notice for introductory number 122 for parkland trade at our place of business on Mount Hope Avenue in the city of Rochester. As I checked out the city website, all the public responses are all about the tract of land around Genesee Park Boulevard and concerns for bike trails and keeping open space. This concerns the town of West Brighton and our immediate impact by the public training facility. The public training facility located on Scottsville Road is positioned so their backyard is our front yard, and it is in full view from East River Road. As this is a formality in introductory 122, and this was not officially approved and documented 20 years ago, we can now take a step back and ask, have they been good stewards of the property? So we have an opportunity now to reevaluate the expansion that sits on Genesee Valley Golf Course and is surrounded by Olmsted Park, a jewel of the city and the suburb. Are all key stakeholders a part of this planning process, or is one group driving a process that clearly affects a larger community? Outreach to West Brighton neighbors is imperative, as we are impacted greatly by the outdoor gun range, the visual fire and biohazard practice that is right on the Genesee River, and years ago there was no discussion when they removed the berm that helped absorb sound from the gun range. I've reached out to the West Brighton Neighborhood Association, which represents our community by the park. We would like to have an opportunity to discuss this at our next spring West Brighton meeting that is attended by Supervisor Bill Mollier and Town Council members. This land swap affects all members of Monroe County, and many constituents would appreciate the opportunity to look over the maps, how biohazard material is handled so close to the river, and what buildings are proposed for the future, what they will look like, and any future berms or landscaping to complement the park. We request time so we, as a community, may practice due diligence to protect and enhance the community. Thank you for your time.
Those were additional comments for introductory number 122. That hearing is again closed.
Pursuant to law, public hearing will now be had on the following matter: local improvement ordinance reestablishing the South Avenue / Alexander Street Open Space Special Assessment District and establishing the cost of related special work and services. Introductory number 131. Any persons desiring to speak in reference to said matter will now be heard.
Hi, my name is Nick Crowley, and I live on Alexander Street. I've been there about 23 years. At the time that park was built, it was just a green space that everyone can kind of use. Local people maintained it. People planted flowers and stuff. About 15 years ago or so, they built a $350,000 park with no budget to clean it up and maintain it. They say on the letter I got it cost about $8,900 to landscape, mow the lawn, and do whatever. Excuse me, I have a little cough. At the time, they passed out flyers or talked around the neighborhood that now they have to take up collection around the local neighbors to pay for it. And at the time, I think it was the only park in maybe New York State that they asked people that live next door to a park to pay to maintain it. If I want to go to Blossom, to Ellison Park, if I want to go to Cobb's Hill Park, I don't have to pay to use it, and I don't believe the neighbors have to pay to have it there. Now, I know that they divvy up the amount of money that is in my taxes to pay for it. I have 3 houses on Alexander Street, and it's not a lot of money, but it's a sizable amount of money that I have to pay extra every year for a park that I personally don't use. The people that actually use it are the people that are drinking beer out of brown paper bags and littering, and that's most of the maintenance right there. There's people that throw food and stuff down there. There is a rat infestation there now, because now there's bushes and things for the rats to hang out at. Last November, the city was there putting rat traps out. And also, I think they said on my map that Byron Street is part of the people that pay for it. Well, they built the wedge point now there. It has all those apartments. Maybe if they divvied up more of that, it would bring my costs down. So I'm just not in favor of the fact that just because someone lives next to a park, they have to pay extra to maintain the cost. So thank you for your time.
If there are no additional speakers, that hearing is closed. That concludes our public hearing for this month. This legislation will be voted on. The next council meeting on Tuesday, September 19th. No, not September. No. Tuesday.
April 17th.
April 17th. Right here in council chambers. Thank you. We are adjourned.
you.